shows. We're live. So yeah,
Hello, everybody out there.
well, I've taken a small hiatus because I have crazy projects to do at work. You've just been cranking out the podcasting, so or at least it seems so.
Well, I mean, Stephen and we haven't recorded in a while, and he hasn't
That's
said
true. Y'all
anything about
record
it.
like
So,
4 or 5 episodes at a
yeah,
time.
at a time.
Yeah.
I don't think we have any in the can now. So, mainly I've been podcasting with Billy for either Monsters and Magazines or
Mhm.
Bronze Age Monsters.
Cool.
So we started talking about DC's The Demon from Jack Kirby,
Oh, nice.
and not this Saturday, but next Saturday, we're going to record 2 of our 3 episodes for our Halloween Spooktacular.
Nice. Hey, Doug, what's going on,
So, hey,
sir?
Doug. And that's been it. Actually, I need to get back in the studio for some solo shows, or I'm going to bust up the schedule that I've had going all year. So,
Well, my goal is to keep us on schedule for the next 5 weeks, and so we can hit episode 100 at a reasonable pace.
okay.
So I've learned that all my projects will be my huge projects will be done by the end of September.
Oh,
So,
okay.
well, this round of them. So we can get if I can get to the 22nd. That's what I'm told. The big headache projects will be submitted, and we'll have to wait until November or December before they come back from review. So
Right.
good times. So alrighty, I guess we can get the ball rolling here,
All right.
and then we'll see what happens. So in 3, 2, 1. Hey everybody, welcome back to Boom Addiction. I am one of your hosts, Chris Parton, and with me as always is Mr. Ed Moore. Ed, how are you, sir?
I am living the fanzine life. See, this is
The
Bubbles,
fanzine.
a new
Yep.
fanzine I've been reading.
So it's a
So
new publication, right? Not an
it's up to
old publication.
17 issues.
Oh, nice.
It started in 2019 is when
Wow.
this is issue number 2. May 2019 is the cover date.
Nice.
They just sometime this month. Is it still this month? Yes. Dropped their 17th issue, or he
Cool.
did actually. Most of it is by one dude. It turns out. I don't remember his name. Is it quickly found?
I
And
love fanzines.
the answer
I
is
haven't
yeah.
read a new one in a long time. That's why I was asking, was it new?
Right.
Because
And
I'm used to the ones from the 70s and the 80s.
there's another one that I bought. They just dropped their 3rd issue, and they posted on Facebook that they had all 3 issues available as a package on eBay. So I
Oh,
grabbed the first 3 issues of theirs to see what it's like. This one, Bubbles, comes out of Richmond, Virginia, which is probably
ah,
uh, 4, maybe 3 to 4 hours away from me.
yeah,
So
same here.
it's relatively close.
Yep. I'll check that out.
Yeah,
Need a
it's
good fanzine.
it's definitely a different kind of reading, of
Yeah.
course. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
it's very there's you feel that there's almost an element of I don't want to say mouth service because that's kind of got a negative connotation, but interviewers will give the lead to whomever they're interviewing quite
Hmm.
often.
Okay.
It's not overly structured
Yeah.
necessarily, and there will be huge swaths of just whoever's being interviewed just
Yeah.
seemingly droning on and on and on and on, and it's like, basically that's what they did. They
Yeah.
bridled up that horse, and then they gave
Yep.
it the lead and said, you go where you
Then
want to.
have at it. Yeah.
And that's, so that's very different from contemporary comic books. It's
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
even the most what do they call it, where they stretch it out, where they stretch out the story.
Oh, yeah, not decompressed, but
Oh
or
yeah,
yeah,
decompressed. Yeah.
decompressed. Yeah.
It's even more decompressed than decompressed comic. But you know that,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
if you've ever read fanzines before, it's like, yeah, that's what you can expect.
These are unprofessional, like
It's
unpolished, excited for the medium. Yeah.
exactly. They have a voice and
Hmm.
they go out there and this is their voice, and
Yep.
you get what you get. Not
Yeah.
that they're necessarily bad or poorly
Oh,
produced or
sure.
anything
Yeah.
like that. Hey Terry, it just
No, Terry.
it just has a very different feel from a lot of modern. It's not going to be Comic Buyer's Guide
Oh,
or
yeah.
Wizard Magazine
That's what
or
makes it fun.
absolutely it
Yeah.
is. I could see me saying that. Well,
Yeah.
that's the question I would have asked,
Yep.
and that's the cool part about it.
Yeah. The you're talking about giving the lead to the interviewee. Um, if I don't know if you listen to iFanboy, but Josh, one of the hosts, he does their Talksplode, which is their interview podcast,
Hmm.
and he had Howard Chaykin on there recently, and they it's a really interesting interview. I think Josh is a really good interviewer. He is um, professional enough to know how to gauge someone he's interviewing and
Hmm.
how much sort of leeway to give them, how much space and not to interrupt, and but also to get in there and sort of like get sort of that follow-up question before
Right?
they're
Yeah,
done
get
with.
some points
Yeah, so
discussed. Yeah.
he's good at that kind of, but he's also um he really gets to kind of know the people that he's talking to. So anyway, so Chaikin's been one of those guys he's been trying to get for a long time, and Chaikin's, I mean, I mean, you're
I,
at least familiar with his work.
I, and I've heard
Yeah,
recent
he's. It was
interviews.
an interesting. It's and I hate to say that because that's such a vague thing that everyone says, but it was literally Josh getting out of the way, and
It yeah,
I think he asked two questions, maybe three.
it's
It was an
definitely,
hour interview.
if you if you listen to a Howard Chaykin interview, it's definitely because you're a Howard Chaykin fan.
Oh, for sure. Yeah,
That
yeah,
is why you listen for his
yeah.
interviews. It's
And
not,
he's so entertaining too.
oh, well, he's been around for freaking ever,
Yes.
and he's
Yeah.
created with everybody. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
He is one of those dudes that needs to write a book about his career.
oh, he is.
What he did.
That's what his current
What?
comic
Oh,
series is. Although it's
well, yeah.
not the actual names and
But
events,
no,
but
no,
he
put it out there, man. Who did what, when, and where? Who was sleeping in the room
but
together? When you
that's
went to
what
that convention and there were 8 of you in that room, what did you do after the first night?
right.
Yeah, that's
If you want some if you're not reading it, Hey Kids Comics is his current
yeah, that's
series
his.
that he's doing. And it's been several volumes of it. It's not exactly a biography, but there are a lot of those characters. You're like, oh, that's Stan Lee, and that's
Right, yeah.
Jack, and
I know
so
who
you
that is.
can
Yeah.
see that kind of thing. Now he's more in the current series, or the last issue is more modern times, like in the
Okay.
'80s. So there's a lot of Eastman and Laird talking about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and stuff like that.
Right.
So, and if you're a TMNT fan, you kind of know the origin of that. So you get to see him talk about it, and it is pretty accurate. I mean, the way he puts it in the book. So, but yeah, that was a good interview. I hadn't laughed that much
Yeah.
listening to
He's
somebody. So
yep.
I definitely recommend that if whoever's listening, if you never tried out iFanboy, at least go back. I would recommend the podcast in general. I've been listening to it since, gosh, 2006,
The
a
way
long
back.
time. Well, no, they hadn't been around that long. Maybe I don't know. Maybe they have
Yeah. Yeah.
2007, six, something like that.
6, 7, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it
They
was
came
one of the
along
first
pretty early.
podcasts I listened to. So, but anyway, that interview is pretty funny. And then the latest one he did was I was telling you before, it's with Recommender. So that's been
Hmm.
an interesting one to listen to as well. So, but anyway, we're here to talk about Boom Studios and all that Boom has to give us. We're going to talk about. We had planned on talking about uh, the Last Sons of America, the 4-issue miniseries that came out, gosh, 8 or 9 years ago. Um,
15,
was it
2015.
15? Okay, so
Was
yeah,
it?
8 years ago. So, but because of scheduling
Yeah,
and everything, I wanted to push it
2015.
off till next week because we just got new previews, new solicitations came out this week. So new previews kind of like came out. So I wanted to make sure we hit that at the beginning of the month. And so next week, we'll talk about Last Sons of America. So we'll also talk about other books that came out in this episode. So don't worry about that. But we definitely wanted to dive into everything that was previews worthy. So let me go ahead and get.
Let
Whoops.
me give a quick recap for Boom previews if folks don't haven't checked into it.
Sure.
For the month of, it's October, right? That's
This
that the
is
release date? Or
November
November?
releases.
November. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Well, because it's September, October, November.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
No.
August. It's
Used
still
to be 3
August,
months. Now
and
it's
yeah.
2, and who knows?
So, Boom is dropping 5 number ones,
Nice.
6 collections. Also, they have a heads up for 6 Boom exclusive covers that you'll be able to get throughout the month on their website. They offered 2 different pieces of merchandise, one of which I'm going to go on about a little bit in case anybody from Boom is actually listening.
Uh-oh.
They dropped a Jim Henson sale
Oh,
for
cool. Yeah.
notice there,
Hmm.
and just out of curiosity, I counted up. They have 20 ongoings, not counting the 5 number ones. So
Nice.
books that are past number one, that the next issue, whatever it is, some of them are even the last issue, depending.
Hmm.
20. So that's 25 ongoing books as of I guess you could say the end of November.
Yeah.
Is what they'll have. So I don't know why I looked that closely, but I just
No, that's
added
some
those things up.
interesting info, especially the first issues and the fact that they talk about the exclusive covers before they come out, which is not a thing they've been doing.
Yeah, I didn't notice that either. I didn't really notice them talking about having a sale on a particular
No.
property or a particular creator or anything like that previously either. So I don't
Yeah.
know if that is can't be Halloween. So I guess maybe they're starting to push for Christmassy kind of stuff
Maybe.
and letting you
Yeah.
know.
End of the
But
year
well,
stuff for
and
sure.
I mean, a Jim Henson sale is never a bad sale.
No, no.
I
If
mean,
you
so there
no,
weren't a whole lot of SKUs sorry, that's the retailer in me. Item
right, yeah.
SKU, yeah,
Yeah, right, yeah.
it's yeah. There weren't a whole lot of items on the sale, but they did have a handful, and they
Yeah.
advertised it as Jim Henson. So
Cool. All right, well, let's go ahead and see. I mean, obviously, right there is one of the first things, but
well,
we'll get
there's
to that in a second. Yeah.
right.
So the first one is, I guess it's Zawa or Zawa,
Okay,
number one of five issue miniseries. This is Michael. How do you say his? We
Diolinus.
always like I look at his
Uh,
name and my brain just says, yeah, we're just gonna backflip it. So, so the first issue comes out November 8th, week after my birthday. Just hint hint there. No special reason. 4.99 cover price. I like the fact that they're putting the local comic shop day foil cover on here. They're like letting you know ahead of time there is going to
oh, that
be
there's going to be one. Okay.
yeah, so there's that, and it's a $10 full cover. Really getting into this foil stuff. Not only Boom, but there's a lot of other publishers that are doing like Marvel's doing facsimile stuff. Instead of just doing that, they're also doing a foil cover of the facsimile. I'm like,
Right. Yeah.
cool, I guess. So we're back in the 90s, I guess. That's cool.
And don't we know Diolinus mainly for his artwork more so than
Yes.
his writing? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
He has done some writing, a series in the past, and I forget what, or at least I think it was him.
For Boom or somewhere
I
else?
think it was for Boom, but I'm not
Was it? Okay.
100% sure. But so this one, this solicitation says, trapped inside of her mountain by pollution spewing factories, the guardian spirit Zawa only has industrial waste to eat, leading her to a bitter existence of paranoia, and destruction. But when two siblings from a nearby village help her escape, they'll quickly learn that the way to calming Zawa's heart is through a well nourished stomach. GLAAD Award winning and Eisner Award nominated cartoonist Michael Dionysus from Wind and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles crafts a charmingly macabre, eco-friendly or eco fable about nature, greed, and the dangers of retribution and good food shared among friends. So I'm looking forward to
Yes.
this because I just dig his style, his art style. I am
Yeah.
curious
Yeah.
about sort of the story and see where they put. I mean, the visuals here just for Zawa is pretty unique. So I'm
Well,
looking
I
forward.
really dug Twig, so that comparison
Yes,
is cool.
yes,
Marceline, the Scream Queen, I know of that, but I'm not
yep,
familiar with it. But it's like, oh, well, you say it's kind of like Twig. Okay, I'll give it a look because I really
yep,
dug that series. That was a fun
yeah,
book.
yeah, definitely. So looking forward to that. And here's some of the variant covers. This Jorge Corona cover. I dig his stuff a lot. Some preview pages. This is again a boombox. We didn't say that before. This is a boombox series,
Mhm.
so I like the fact that we keep dipping a little bit here and there into the boombox field.
Right, keeping it
So,
going.
yep, for what, even if it's just for trademark purposes, at least
It
we
doesn't
got it
matter.
out there. So,
That's it.
but yeah, I mean, this art style. I mean, this is cool stuff. So definitely, I can just in the cartooning of the faces and stuff reminds me of the Woods and stuff like that.
Wind.
Did he? Oh, did he do the Woods?
No.
No. Who did Woods?
Um, I
Oh,
don't
never
know,
mind. Never
but
mind.
I'll
I apologize.
I'll look it up.
I've had Woods on my brain lately. I mean, seriously, I don't
You
know
need to pull
why,
it out and read it.
and I need to
You need to
pull it
pull it
out
out
and
and read
read
it.
it.
It's not like
So
Spider-Man, so
no,
it'll
it's
be
not.
okay. You can read the
I can.
Woods. It's
It'll
it's
be
good.
safe to
Yeah,
go back.
yeah. Oh no, it was him. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
okay, good. That's
Yeah,
what I
I was
thought.
thinking. Okay, I was thinking it was the
Made me
Jenkins
question myself.
and what's his face, the Black Badge duo
Oh,
that
okay,
did
yeah, yeah.
Woods, but no, it was Tynan and Linus.
Yep. Made me question
Sorry,
myself.
guys. Oops.
I thought I was right. I
Yes,
was
Doug.
told
Wind
today.
Wind has been a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah,
You
yeah.
you were
I
told
remember
what?
that. Yes. 100%. Love that
This was
book.
by somebody at work or by your wife?
Somebody at work, they were
Okay.
they were talking about, we can always count on you to be very decisive in when you tell us something. And in the moment I say something, you question it, and I immediately collapsed.
Oh, don't rely on me. I had virtually 0 sleep last night, so I'm
Oh,
pretty much
jeez.
coasting
Oh,
right now.
God.
Who
Well,
knows what I'm gonna say?
all right, this will be fun, folks.
Yes,
All
it
right,
will.
another gem of the month, Lotus Land, number one of six. This is written by Darcy Van Polygeest.
Polgeist.
Yeah,
Okay.
illustrated by Caio Felipe, colors by Patricio Del Pesce, and a lot of covers. This is November 15th, $4.99. Cover price, 32 pages. Mind-bending dystopian sci-fi from the Eisner-winning writer of Little Bird. Oh, okay. I remember Little Bird. And perfect fan of Old Dog. In a Vancouver of the future, painted with ultramodern decay, a groundbreaking advancement in technology promises an end to the entropy itself. But when an attack on the mysterious Keeper program threatens the lives of everyone tied to it, retired police detective Bernie Strickland, there is an L in there, I think, is called to investigate one last case. Eisner
Nope.
Award winning at Harvard.
Strickman.
Strickman?
Nope.
Okay.
Yeah, no L.
It's tiny writing and I'm
Yeah.
blind. So Eisner Award, I should have zoomed in. Eisner Award and Harvey nominated writer and director Darcy Van Polgeest of Little Bird is joined by rising star artist Caio Felipe of Stranger Things. Oh, okay. For this timely and thought-provoking look into human condition, it's set in dystopia that is grounded as well as metaphysical. So it's an interesting concept by some creators that I don't know that well. I know Little Bird. I remember it coming out. I remember reading the first issue and maybe the second, but I don't remember much about it. So this will be a new creative team for me. So I'm always excited about checking out some new folks and seeing what they've got brewing around in their mind. That's also a scary place to be sometimes. So so let's see here. Oh, cursor was in the wrong place. So we get a Christian Ward variant cover. I love Christian Ward stuff. A couple preview pages here. And then we jump right into Berserker Fallen Empire #1. So this is Keanu Reeves, Madison Tomlin, and Rebecca Isaacs, which I'm excited to see Rebecca Isaacs illustrating a book. This is a bloody window into Beast Pass from the folks who you would expect it from. Keanu Reeves and the co-writer of Batman Part 2. Oh, the movie, The Batman Part 2. So I'm not going to go through every solicitation. I don't want to take everybody's time up, but this is a survivor of a long dead empire that once thrived, and just once again telling a little bit of Bee's past. So we've talked about it when we talked about the last one. I do like that they're bringing out these one shots. There's no need for a mini series or anything like that. Yeah. Get in there, tell the story. Right. And there's so many that you can do. I mean, 56 pages, so there's plenty of space to do it in. And I think I'm starting to like Berserker more now that I know we're getting some of these sort of bits and pieces of his past sort of scattered in there now. Now that we've been told the miniseries story, we kind of got a framework of his life. Right. Now let's throw in some of these little spots here and there of what exactly he did and who he met and stuff like that. So
you have another LCS foil variant.
Yes, and $12.99. Although the cover price on this one is $10.99, so that's not too much.
No, not too much more.
Yeah, so a nice Jenny Frizen cover, some sketches from Rebecca Isaacs. I dig her style a lot, so it's a good stuff. Well, that's unfortunate. Now, if you're watching us on YouTube, if you're listening to us on the podcast, this won't mean anything to you. But if you're watching the video show, the PDF that we're going through and showing everybody is basically the pages from previews that they send us just in the PDF. And unfortunately, it just threw up a bunch of text with no cover. So this is the Animal Pound Ashcan. Apparently this is a thing we're going to start doing, is providing Ashcan or teaser books. It's the trailer before the trailer,
apparently.
So, but they're making a big deal about this because this is Tom King and Peter Gross's new miniseries that's sort of a modern look at Animal Farm. So this will be Tom King's first creator-owned book at Boom. So they're also going to be making a big deal about that because apparently he's a guy that everybody likes.
Yeah.
He's all right.
Yeah, he can write a little bit. Yeah, whatever.
He's done some stuff. But yeah, so this is, like I said, this is a modern take on the Animal Farm book. If a lot of you have read that, a lot of us were required to read that during school. So I don't know about required. Once I got into it, I was kind of like, oh, this is a book I was kind of glad to read. It's really messed up, but thanks a lot for letting me read it here in school. So, but I'm kind of interested to see Peter Gross's work on this. I don't read a lot of his books that he that he draws. So I'm kind of curious. Let's see. Space Between #1, another first. This is Karina Becco and illustrated by Danny Luckert. This will be out November 1st. $4.99 cover price. A multi-generational spanning interstellar sci-fi tale for fans of We Only Find... Hey, they got me already. Fans of We Only Find Them When They're Dead. So thanks a lot, guys. That's all you needed to say. I'm gonna pick it up. I'll probably pick it up anyway. So aboard the interstellar arc known as the Dodana, the populations of workers. Okay, this is I remember reading about this. I kind of give it a little bit of a comparison to um oh gosh, what was the Snowpiercer? It's sort of classes are separated
Mhm.
amongst the ship, and two people from different classes fall in love, and it's sort of there. So each issue of the limited series features a new pair of protagonists and a new generation of humanity. So it sort of time jumps and stuff like that. So it'll be interesting to see. Get a
Peep,
nice David Mack cover.
peep that David Mack cover. Yeah,
Yep. I Now that Boom's sort of like got his number, I'm glad that they keep using it.
man.
Keep
Yeah,
calling him up, and be like,
yeah.
"Hey,
That's
we got this book." I'm sorry, I have a gnat flying around my face. Um, but I'm glad I'm glad that they've keep going back to that well. Like there's really nothing wrong with having a David Mack cover on your series. Folks are gonna flock to that. So
yep. Doug said he liked Little Bird also. I didn't read it, so
cool. All right.
I don't know
See,
what you kids are
but
reading.
okay, so we've established that Doug is like an amalgam of the two of us together, and
He does seem to be,
he
yes.
reads literally everything that the two of us read, which is great. Either that, or he's just pandering to us.
Oh, it could be. You know,
Yeah, it's just probably the pandering.
we may never know.
We may never. So to kind of move on, something is killing the children. Number 35. This is the most monolithic issue to date, setting the stage for the next era of something is killing the children. That's foreboding. So, no telling what that's going to. Well, maybe we'll talk about issue 32 and this show. But I mean, there's at least some stuff set up there. So
Yeah,
3 issues from now, I'm kind of curious.
a lot of
Oh,
talking heads in issue 32.
Eric Yada. Oh, I'm known to pander. All right, there we
Known
go, Doug.
panderer.
Thanks, Doug. So I
This
love that cover.
Ekman Lawn cover uh, puts me in mind of a Junji Ito story.
Oh, okay.
That's what that artwork strikes me as something out of one of his horror manga.
Yeah, that's definitely freaky, but definitely cool. So, House Slaughter number 19. This is sort of more. Actually, no, this is a new arc. Or is this a new arc?
No, I
Are
think
we
it's a
still? No, we're
continuing
still
bait
doing with
story.
bait. Yeah, I
Yeah,
see bait here.
yeah.
So,
The something is killing. Apparently, from what they say, I assume that is the end of that storyline. That's why
yeah,
it's setting up. So, could be we will see a little break after that.
it's
I
a good
wouldn't be
possibility.
surprised.
Yeah,
Yeah. So,
and maybe we'll get a new deluxe edition.
okay. Yeah.
Maybe
Quick little catch up there.
Jeez, a lot of issues in that one. So all right. So the first of our merchandise, something is killing the children T-shirt, $30. It's an interesting design here with Erica. So nothing to say. Oh, I know what you're gonna.
Not, yeah. Nope. Not
I
on
know
that
what
one.
you're gonna talk about. Never mind. I remember now.
Yeah. The merch.
Uh, yes. Grimm number 15. So we're getting to the end of the third arc
Third
with
arc.
this issue.
Hmm.
So nice. Now we have a Boom Studios logo beanie,
Okay. Here
$20.
we go.
Have at it.
Anybody out there listening, if you are with Boom, I won't speak for Chris, but I will gladly accept one of these as a gift and proudly wear it every recording. So
I
just,
knew you were
free
gonna say
advertising. See, this is Usagi Yojimbo. He is my favorite character. I will put him aside
talk
to
about your
wear the
pandering.
beanie. That's it, man. So there we go.
I knew you were gonna do that. And no, and I'm not blaming you at all. If I didn't have my big old skull, I'd be buying the baseball cap that's on
Mm-hmm.
FOC. I think it's
Yep.
on FOC. So, but yeah, I was like, yeah, there's no way that hat's gonna fit on my head. Although I am tempted just to buy it, just to just to see.
Just to have
Yeah.
it. Well, yeah, because if it works, it works. But if
Yeah.
not, it's like, it's cool. I got one.
Yeah. But yeah, the beanie is definitely something I'm kind of interested in. I mean, it's only $20. I mean,
Yeah, that's not, and it looks like it's on the thicker side.
yeah.
Looking at it
Oh
too, so
yeah.
it's a warmer beanie, not a thinner.
Yeah. Well, we are getting into the winter months.
Oh,
Yeah.
and now is the time. Oh, and I
Now is
told Chris on Twitter today, it's funny that a company in SoCal is offering a beanie.
yeah.
Okay. All your people out there are going
You have very sweaty
probably
heads.
none of them will wear it. It's obviously for someone else in another part of
It
the country.
says keep warm this winter in the premium black net beanie. Yeah.
It's
So
not a soul in Southern California is going to be wearing those.
no,
No.
not at all. Let's see. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers number 114, getting further into the darkest hour. So that's going on. New second issue of Rangers Academy on the 1st. Here's the first of our soft covers, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Necessary Evil Volume 1. So this is going to be covering the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers issues 40 through 45 and the Go-Go Power Rangers series 21 through 26. So 336 pages, $30. This is the advance solicitation for January, for end of January, actually. So if you're buying up the trades, there's your opportunity. But if you're one of those folks who loves you some deluxe editions, and freaking Power Rangers have got a ton of them, you could hurt somebody with as many of those deluxe editions they have.
Yep.
This one is the Lost Chronicles Deluxe Edition. Again, advanced solicitation for January, $75, 480 pages. Collecting the Soul of the Dragon original graphic novel, Power Rangers Sins of the Future OGN, Psychopath OGN, Aftershock OGN, and the Power Rangers Artist Tribute. So this is a lot of their original graphic novels put into this one. So that's why it's so big and hefty. And it's probably going to be a good 2 inches, 2.5, 3 inches.
480 pages. Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be well, all those deluxe editions are just meaty books. So, okay. So Abbott 1979, 205. I'm looking forward to that first issue finally hitting so we can talk about that. I need to go back and reread the first 2 miniseries so I get, so I don't go, I remember stuff happening. So, do my due diligence for the show. Slow Burn number 2. This is another one I'm looking forward to getting started. Ollie Masters' new miniseries. And Damn Them All number 10 is coming out. This is an ongoing now, right?
Mm-hmm.
So no breaks. Although there probably will be a break at the end of this.
Yeah, there might be a break, but probably just up until they cancel it or they finish the story, whichever it's going to be.
Yep. And then Coda number 3, again, I think the first issue of that comes out here in the next week or two. So that'll be 5-issue miniseries. Hunt for the Skinwalker number 304. I feel really we're talking about almost a book ending before the first issue comes out.
Mm-hmm.
But,
well,
but
there we go.
Yeah. And and so never mind. I was gonna say we should be getting our books mailed out. No, we probably won't. For Kickstarter, not for a while. So, but I do want to talk about that.
This trade doesn't come out until December.
Oh,
I remember that from the Kickstarter. I didn't make the Berserker mistake. I looked.
You looked first.
When are you saying this is coming out? So
just want to know. Just want to know. Rare Flavors number 3 of 6. That comes out in November. Met Cadets. Sorry. Go ahead.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Do you get Emile Ferreau vibes from this character?
Emile Ferreau.
Do you remember who that is?
I'm trying to think who that is.
That's the Egyptian psychic that screwed up Storm in the X-Men.
Oh, you mean Shadow King?
Well, Shadow King was in him. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, definitely. Now that you've said that, yeah.
Yeah. Every 100%. Time I see that character, I'm like,
I didn't think about that too. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, he really strikes me like that character from the X-Men series.
He said, "No, that's all I'm going to see." But yeah,
Yep,
you're
that's right.
right.
Until you read it, you're gonna have to read
Yeah,
it to get that out of your mind.
yeah.
Cleanse your mind. Yeah,
He's a demon. It's well, that's what Shadow King was. Anyway, so
yeah. That's right. Had psychic power. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah. Exactly. I know what you're saying. Never mind. It's the same character.
Yeah, he just
This person right here is actually Storm.
yeah, he's moving across universes now.
There
He's
you
crossing the barrier there.
go. Met Cadets 4 of 6. I still have not watched the show, much to my chagrin.
Boo on
I'm
you.
going. I know. I feel
Boo on you.
horrible that I've not watched that.
It's good.
I keep. I think every week I at least have one or two people go. That's a really good show. You should be watching it. I'm like, I
Well,
know I should be. I've even told other people to watch it, and I just
probably
haven't watched it
the
yet.
most interesting part about the fact that you haven't watched any of it is that the episodes are only 22 minutes
I
apiece,
know.
and there's 8
So
episodes or 10 episodes. So, I
so
mean,
here's the thing.
you can eat it quickly.
I actually told somebody yesterday, the guy who sits in the desk next to me at work. Now I work for a bunch of with a bunch of engineers. He's a little younger than I am, but he had his phone on like YouTube or Netflix or something like that. And I just happened to look over when he and I were talking, and I saw that there was something playing. And I said, "Don't you find that distracting?" He's like, "No, no, no. I'm just kind of listening to it." And I used to do that. I used to can put a show or a movie or something on,
Background.
like on the TV, like because I have a TV.
Ooh, okay.
I used to have it on the TV, and especially when I was living in South Carolina, I because pandemic, I just had that as noise in the background or whatever. I'd listen to guys on Twitch. Anyway, beside the point. I tried to like watch something, quote unquote, listen to it. I spent more time watching it, and I was like, okay, because
I
I had Netflix on my
I
phone,
can't do that.
and I was like, nope, can't do that. Sorry. So that was how I was going to watch Met Cadets, as I was going to do, and I'm like, no, I care too much about wanting to actually see
Yeah,
what it
you
is.
you have to pick something less
Yeah,
interesting.
so I was just like, nope, can't do that anymore. So I tried, not with Met Cadets, but I tried to at least see if I could turn my brain that way. Nope, nope, not going to happen.
Yeah.
I'll spend some time with it. Alice Never After, the final issue of that makes me curious based on how the first miniseries ended that gave us Never After. Are we going to get a third? Maybe is this Panosian's trilogy? Because I mean, I know how much he enjoys Wonderland, just the property of it all,
Mhm.
the world and everything. So I am kind of curious if he's going to want to go back to it. So we'll see with the fifth issue, um, but yeah. So I dig this series a lot too. So I don't know. We'll see. World's End. Wild. Well, that's how I feel these days. Wild's End, number 6 of 6. And if you're reading Wild's End, you may as well think that as well. Final issue of this particular volume, and I say that because I didn't expect this to be a new volume, so we may get more. Who knows? But I have been enjoying that. Here's
Yep.
the soft cover, and this
This is
is
the previous
this
3 volumes
yeah,
altogether.
yeah. So that's gonna be pretty sweet. See, that's what makes me think there might be more because they're not including it.
Well, it just
So
finished.
yeah, but
They're
this is
they're not gonna put out. No, see, this is the first 3 chapters, and this just finished the 4th chapter.
yeah, that's what I mean. There's got to
So,
be more
well,
too.
but I mean, they're not gonna. I don't think I've ever seen them. Maybe once I can think of where they ended a series and the trade was in the same month.
Oh, I'm just saying because
So,
there's 3 volumes in this particular trade.
okay. Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
They
So why
didn't put
not
it in
do the
there,
first 2 and then the second? That's
right?
what I was thinking.
Or wait and
Uh,
put
uh,
the 4th volume in with these 3.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I got you.
So it makes me think there's a potential from. Not saying they've got it planned, but maybe. I mean, I think Boom has, or at least in an interview that I've listened to, Philip Sadler, because when they were talking about Giant Days, they've taken a very uh, conscientious
Mhm.
approach to trades and stuff, and so they really plan for those things, or at least attempt to plan really good for those things, and what the production is and all this other stuff. So there's a good product on the shelf. So that's why I'm like, I don't think that they're putting these three stories together and not the fourth. I think there are reasons, so we'll see. Plus, it's just slight, hoping, we get more. So, I can plan. I'm planning as
Yep.
well. So, Sirens 5 of 6. Love the series. Ghost Lore number 6. I'm digging this one as well. Any comments? I
No,
know
no,
that you are.
I
Okay.
enjoyed the second issue, Sirens of the City, and Ghost Lore. Apparently, this is an ongoing because we don't have a of here. So,
Yes. Yeah, that's gone away.
um,
Yeah. Once Upon a Time at the End of the World, Volume 2. Whew. I want to sort of our struggle with Volume 2, this second arc.
the struggle was
We are
real.
not alone. I've talked to a couple of friends who are reading it as well. They're like, first arc, awesome.
Yes.
Second arc, really felt like they hit the brakes on on the series
Something.
and
Yeah.
really just sort of went off. So everyone's like, all right, we're really looking forward to
Or yeah,
third
let's
volume to
see if
see
they
what
get it back
happens.
on track.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, if nobody wants to say it's bad because none of us think it's bad. We're just like, what the frick is this? Like
It
literally, what is this?
it wasn't like the first
Yeah.
volume,
So
first chapter. Yeah.
yeah. So that's out. Advanced solicitations for January. So and then we've got Buffy the Last Vampire Slayer number 4, Firefly the Fall Guys number 3, The Expanse Dragon Tooth 7 of 12, June House Harkonnen number 11 of 12. I am curious what the next June book is going to be because they're going to do it all.
Oh yeah.
I mean, there's so many novels out there. So
Especially with them recently talking about the next movie. Um,
yeah,
it's been in the news recently. So
yeah. So speaking of Giant Days, here's the library edition for volume 6, the hardcover for that. Again, $30. I think that's an awesome price for these books. Fence Redemption, book 6. This will be the miniseries that we're currently reading. This is the first or 4 issues here. $15 for this book. And then the exclusive covers that you were talking about earlier. So I guess throughout the month of November, these will be released as those particular issues are released.
I think so. Usually, yeah, that's what they do.
So now there's one for the Approach, which is already that miniseries is done and over with, but even the trade, I think, is scary.
The trade
Forget when the
or
trade's coming out.
what's coming up. Baltimore's coming up, right?
Mm-hmm.
New York Comic Con is coming up.
Yeah.
So it could be something related to either of those.
Yeah. And then Stuff of Nightmare. That's a great Jenny Frison cover. The just negative tone to it. So yeah.
That's the Gentleman Ghost from DC.
Oh, it is.
That's exactly
You had
who
the
that looks
hat
like.
and everything.
Yeah, yeah. It's like, oh, cool.
I do really like this cover for Something Is Killing. I've seen it shared elsewhere. I feel like this is already on the store.
Could be.
But it's probably already sold out too. Uh, so, and prepare for a fright with our horrifying hits. Retailers see order form. Okay, but Harrowers definitely. These are some other
More variants.
the
Yeah, these are
more
Halloween variants.
Yeah, so some good stuff there. I know folks that are just collecting this Veronica Fish because Grimm has been putting out a series of those covers. Not like the what's the name, the Johnson covers, but anyway, I know the trade, one of the exclusive trades for Volume 1 had something like that with her stuff on it. So
I like dude's Simmons boots there. Kiss Gene Simmons boots. They don't have the face. They don't have the face painted on them, but yeah,
you're right.
They look like those kind of boots.
It is. get some teeth on them.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then here's your stuff from Boom Studios, their kids comic sale. I do think everybody should check out, at the very least, Lumberjanes.
Oh,
But I
absolutely.
would recommend all 4 of these. But yeah, I dig. I would love. That's what I need to do. I need to finish picking up the missing issues I have of Lumberjanes and just do a big read of
Read
that,
through. Yeah.
because it's 75 issues and some one shots
Thereabouts
and stuff like
70,
that.
72 regular. And yeah.
Yeah.
And then
But
the
yeah.
next 4 books I would recommend also.
Oh, for sure. Oh gosh, yeah. Yeah, I think I don't know. I may have Turkey Hollow in my storage.
Okay.
I'll have to go look. But anyway, yeah, definitely. 100% these Jim Henson books are some fabulous story. Loves from Fraggle Rock. That's what we should do for a retro. We should bring out a Fraggle Rock stuff.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely, man.
God, yeah. I'm sure I've got a Fraggle Rock or 2 hardcover in
Pull out those
storage.
funky shaped little books.
Oh, I've got those sitting over there somewhere.
What are they, like 6
'Cause
by 6 or something like
Yeah,
that?
'cause I
They're
still don't know
square.
what to store them in.
Yeah.
I did at one time have magazine
Mhm.
bags, and so I cut the magazine board sort of in half and
Okay.
did that for some issues, but I just didn't. I ran out of stuff, so anyway, need to. So yeah, I have like a small stack of these books still sort of floating around, and then I told you I found like a whole stack of mouse guard books, and I just need to get those bag and boarded and everything. So,
Better
yeah,
take care of those, man. Those are worth gold.
yeah, you'd be surprised.
First printings, man. Those are
Some killer stuff though.
Yep.
So that's it. That's it for all the solicitations. Lots of good books. Like you were talking about, what'd you say, 5 or 6 new series?
5 number ones. Yeah, counting the ash can.
Yep.
And the one-offs. I mean, it counts as a number 1.
But some good fun stuff to check out. So hopefully you get a chance to check some of those stuff, those books out, and we will definitely cover a lot of them in future episodes. So don't worry, we will remind you, especially when FOC. Yes, we did not bring up FOC this episode, but we will bring it back.
We'll talk about it next week.
So yeah,
and,
wanted to make sure we had time.
Just keep your eyes on your bookstore.
For sure. Yeah.
If it's something we haven't talked about, just keep an eye out.
If we haven't talked about it, it's not or not.
Yeah, it's not coming out.
Not coming out.
That's sure it's not coming out.
We will bury it somewhere.
Yep.
So yeah. So all right. So we're gonna jump into new releases. Books have come out the last couple of weeks because we've been away for a little bit. Want to get caught up on some of the books. We definitely won't talk about all of them because there was a slew of them. So, sir, what would you like to start off with?
Let's start off with Creed issue number 3.
Nice.
And I do want to shout out Latanya Morgan left a comment on the YouTube video for episode 6, which is where we talked about the first issue of Creed. She is very highly involved with this series in that she is one of the writers, and left a very nice comment. A very nice second comment.
Yep.
Seemed very cordial, and I wanted to take a minute and tell them that I appreciate the fact that they took the time, either watching the whole video or to find the Creed segment, because it was a little better than halfway through a 2-hour video.
Yeah.
So, if they didn't just start watching, it took a little bit to get to it to where it was something they recognized. But either way, definitely appreciate the time and effort to do that. As a multimedia creator, they're also involved in this is going to hurt, movies or TV, Chris, one or the other.
Didn't you ask me?
Yeah,
honestly, I don't know.
Pulling you under the bus with me.
That's fine. That's fine.
There's room under here. The wheels are big. So it's yeah. but as well as writing, and I'm sure that they're involved in many other endeavors as well.
Oh, for sure.
Well, uh, yeah, normally I'm probably now they're not involved in too many endeavors because there's a kind
Well,
of a
yeah, there's
work
a strike
stoppage
going
going
on.
on. Yeah, so but they will be.
Yeah.
So definitely thank you for the time and effort to watch, the time and
That
effort
was
to
great.
comment, the time and effort to comment on the comment that was left, and definitely appreciate it. I think the main reason they left a comment was to give us the back pat for the fact that we recognized that the person who narked out Amara in the
Yeah.
first issue to her daddy when she was at the illegal street fight
Yep.
was the dude that had the Creed ball
Yep.
cap. On Creed's phone, he was named Matthias, Matthias, and so
Matthias, yeah.
that is his name, Matthias, and we asked about that, and then finally settled on. I bet it was this dude here because he had the phone up and everything.
Yep.
And uh, uh, Latanya verified that Latoya. I'm sorry, I didn't. That didn't feel right, Latanya. It's Latoya. Latoya Morgan. It verified that we were correct in that.
Yeah.
Rather blind squirrel getting a nut sometime kind of observation.
Oh, it happens. Yeah.
You know, yeah. So
We've read enough comics. We can
hey,
sometimes we can put a couple things
yeah, I
together.
bet it's somebody in this panel right here.
Yeah, it's gotta
It's
be.
one of these people.
It
No,
looks like that.
yeah, no owning to the fact that well, you've seen all of those people before, so
Yeah.
yeah, it probably is one. Well, I didn't remember that. Yeah, so okay, Creed: The Next Round. Creative director Michael B. Jordan, writers Latoya Morgan and Jay Jameson.
Mhm.
Letterer and World Designs. Artist, we have two parts of the story. For the Amra Adonis story, the artists were Wilton Santos, pencils and inks, and DJ Chavez for colors. And then Jamie's story, who, yeah, we'll find out who Jamie. Well, we have seen Jamie before, but
Yeah. Yeah.
kind of, yeah. The pencils and inks were by Valentine Delandro and the colors by Marissa Louise. Several covers, 1, 2, 3, 4. And again, special thanks to our Black American Sign Language BASL consultant, Roxanne Dumet, instructor in American Sign Language, Deaf Culture, and Deaf History at George Mason University's College of Education and Human Development. Designer was Grace Park. And they tell us that Creed 3 is now available.
Yeah, it is.
So if you,
I need to go. I need to watch it. I just
which
haven't watched it yet.
I guess I don't know where that occurs. I guess that occurs before this because this is
Oh
like
yeah.
in the
This
future,
is
20 some years. So
Yep.
yeah, reading the vitae for Dr. or instructor. I don't want to mislabel there. Dumet, West Virginia University, my state university, is undergoing a fiscal shortfall of I don't know, $24 million.
Oh
And
jeez.
they're going through a recommendation of programs to cut
Mhm.
that they announced right before school started for the semester. So of course all the
Oh,
students
nice.
are involved in the discussions, and yeah, it's been an interesting thing to watch.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's so
Thanks, like
uh yeah, real world stuff. Sorry,
Right.
comic books. So we open up here with actually, and I didn't write her name. What was the
Well, yeah, this is Jamie.
Jamie? That's
Jamie
it.
Pierce.
The
Yeah.
young girl. Yeah, I didn't write that. I don't know why I didn't write that
She's
down.
the one who's coming for Amara.
She is the current champ,
Yes.
and she is the one that Amra. Obviously, it's going to be her biggest opponent.
Yeah.
They're probably going to be like start on opposite sides of the bracket, and they're going to go through the
Mhm.
bracket, and they're going to meet, and yeah. So you kind of
I've seen Karate Kid.
yeah, you kind of see that. Yeah, with the little drum. I had one of those drums, by the way,
I'm
that just
sure you
twisted like this. Yeah,
does not surprise me.
because that was the move that he was
Yep.
teaching him to be like the string on the. Yeah. Okay. Anyways,
I love that movie.
yeah. The first one. I liked each one after that less and less, but the
Oh,
first one was really cool.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. 100%.
Mr. Miyagi is one of my all-time favorite actors ever.
Yes.
Pat
Pat Morita.
Morita,
Yeah.
Arnold, right? On
Arnold.
Happy Days,
Yep.
he was Arnold on Happy Days. I think
Mhm.
that was probably the first. That was the first place I ever saw him. Now
Oh
I
yeah,
know
yeah.
he
Same
acted
here.
well before that, but
Yeah.
yeah. Now I have had occasion to watch him in movies and
Mhm.
MASH episodes and
Oh
a
yeah.
lot of
Yeah.
other things that which I guess Karate Kid may be the same thing, but he was in because of the way he looked,
Yes.
maybe more so than the fact that he could act or so, so a lot of those other roles definitely have that kind of feeling because he's always Japanese, Chinese, Asian soldier or
Yeah.
shopkeeper, or
Yep.
it's like, oh, come on, you're not,
Gotta try a little better than that.
what are you doing, White Hollywood?
Right. Yeah.
Come on, give the man a chance. Hey, Hyper.
Yep. I presented. Chat.
So she is beating up a boy. Basically, we're learning how tough an ass she is.
Mhm.
She is so tough that she can beat the boys too, even though she's a girl. That's more or less my takeaway. I don't think there's. I understand physically there's going to be differences,
Oh sure. Yeah.
uh, but in order to bolster her, I didn't need to see her beating up a guy. It
No.
doesn't matter to me really one way or the other. So
But
yeah,
we're definitely getting the point. So
yeah. She's a badass. I didn't have any questions about that to begin with.
no.
Um, then we cut to her story,
Mhm.
um, kind of her mm, origin, more or less, origin of why she is the way she is, as we have seen in the story so far.
Yeah.
Um, her dad was a boxer. Her dad didn't get the bylines that many people. We didn't necessarily see it from him, but a lot of people who were watching at the time, and I don't think it tells us the time, but she's in her probably early 20s, and you can figure her dad was in his prime, probably in his early 30s as a boxer.
Well, this is her grandfather,
Or
Moses
her
Pierce.
grandfather. Yeah,
Yeah.
Moses, I'm sorry, her grandpa
Yeah. This is where her lineage in boxing starts
started.
because her
Right.
dad does become a boxer and everything.
Yeah, her dad is the one that kind of
Yeah.
is the disappointment. The
Yes.
grandfather is
Yeah.
not,
Yeah. He's the
and
champion.
the granddaughter doesn't want to be.
Yeah.
So we have the bookends of success there, but the
Yep.
father didn't quite reach his potential. Maybe not through reasons of his own doing. Perhaps it was situational reasons we kind of hear about in the story.
Yeah, and the fact that he disappeared, there's no follow-up to that.
Hmm.
So he like was supposed to have a big match and then he just up and disappeared and left her with her grandfather.
I
Yeah, I'm
I
still waiting for that shoe to drop.
I
Figure
got the
out what
feeling
happened
that he
there.
was supposed to throw it and he refused to throw it, so he left.
Oh, that's a
That was
possibility.
that was just kind of the feel to me of the way
Yeah.
that part of the story was going. Kind of like Bruce Willis in Pulp Fiction there at the end.
Yes.
He yeah, Zed's dead, baby. That's 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 the only line I remember. No, that's not true. About to get medieval on there. I
There
remember
you
that
go. I
line
was gonna
too.
say.
Yeah. So, and other lines. So, um, so yeah, we see Jamie as she is trying to deal um with who she is as probably a middle schooler here. It looks like. Um, for a long, long time in her life, she hasn't taken nothing off of nobody. Uh,
Yeah.
I think is the major takeaway. Again, fighting a dude, but then that kind of makes sense because in most schools the dudes are bullies until you get to
Mhm.
high school, and that's usually where you get the girls being bullies too. But my experience is that in the lower grades, it's the dudes predominantly. And of course, Grandpa is told her the same thing that I told my sons when they were growing up. Um, we'll worry about whether or not you started it later, but you make sure you end it.
Yeah.
That's what I told them. Fortunately, never had to deal with that. Well, I had to deal with it one time, but that was with the youngest, which is what I would expect from Nick. So, um, just different things. We see the origin of her mohawk, which I don't know. She saw. I guess she saw it online. Thought it was badass. Um, Clubber
She thought
Lang
she was Storm. No,
did
sorry.
no. Storm was
Since
in
we've
one
been
of the
talking
other.
about Storm
She was
lately.
in one of the other books. Yeah,
Yeah,
she's
she's
not
in
in
the
this
other one.
one too.
Yeah,
It's
Rare
yeah.
Flavors. Yeah, sorry about that.
Didn't Clubber Lang have a mohawk?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes, it did.
So maybe that's who she's seeing. Don't know. Um, we she drops in on Amara as she's training with her dad, which I I don't know. I guess after the first couple issues, I thought he had kind of I thought they were kind of like on a cooler or something.
It's yeah,
But
I thought that was the case, and so this was a little not
I mean, this
off-putting,
is
but it was just like I was a little confused, but I'm like, we're not getting a full linear story here.
no, no, no,
And
no.
so we are missing some of those in between moments. And at some point, yeah,
This I
they
think
just
this is more than training also. It's probably an exhibition because you see all these chairs. That's
yeah,
not going to be set up for training. So
no, no,
she's doing some sort of exhibition, maybe working up to this. It's like a maybe it's like a media scrum for this
maybe, yeah.
upcoming big tournament that's coming up. That I didn't think Daddy was going to let her enter, but yeah, that's not really discussed here either.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, he did kinda because I remember after reading the last issue, I was like, "Well, he's kinda put his foot down that she can't do anything unless he's got something to say about it, and it's his way or the highway kinda thing," and maybe she just thought, "Okay, fine, we'll just do it this way,
buckled under,
but
yeah.
I'm still gonna go hang out with auntie." Yeah.
Oh, and we didn't talk about issue 2, but I do wanna throw out there that, for those of you that haven't read it, Adonis was a real bell end in issue 2, I thought, just
Yes. Yes, it
from
was.
beginning to end. I mean, I
Yeah.
appreciate what he's trying to do and,
Yeah.
um, where he's coming from as a dad,
Yeah.
but boy, he's awful heavy-handed. I mean,
Mhm.
just and if there is one thing about raising children, the heavier handed you get, the more they're gonna buck. That
Oh, for
is
sure.
I think that is just a genetic thing built into all children, so
Yep.
you you end up having
Yes.
to weigh your battles basically because yeah, it's but yeah, the harder you push, boy, the harder they push back. I don't think I've ever interacted with any parent that their child did otherwise.
Right.
I think that
Yeah.
turns out to be a standard.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So Jamie starts giving Amara some face grief here. She's Jamie is talking to some of Amara's friends who
Yeah.
are down in the audience, talking smack. Of course, loud enough that Amara can hear, but Amara's involved in the or Amara, well, however you say it, Amara. She's involved in a match, so I mean, she can't necessarily address it. She has to be sure she doesn't get her clock cleaned
Yeah.
while. But what is it? The referee always says, "Protect yourself at all times."
Yes.
Yeah. So she does win. Amara does. Jamie continues talking some smack, and then Amara gets involved in that, and um, we find out here about the California Amateur Boxing Championship also on this page,
Mhm.
and we have the names of Amara dropped by one of the talking heads,
Yep.
sportscasters, and Amara from the other. So even those in the know kind of see that these two people are heading for a collision in this
Yeah.
tournament that's coming up. And Amara is a newbie, so I mean Jamie is a known quantity.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, she's the belt holder from I don't know, maybe last year, maybe several years, whatever. But she's the current belt holder.
Yeah.
Amara is the challenger, although not necessarily yet because we have a whole
Oh,
tournament.
yeah,
But
they've got the whole thing, yeah.
but she has gotten enough attention, if only for the fact that her last name is Creed.
Yeah.
Maybe that's all they're going on, and some hearsay or whatever. But yeah, Creed and what was Jamie's given name? Pierce.
Yeah, Pierce. Yeah.
Creed, and Pierce, well-known commodities in boxing in this part of California, I guess, at this time. So we see a scene in the locker room that really enforces the sign language aspect, which is good because
Yeah.
we hadn't really seen it too much up to now,
Yeah.
where Adonis is talking to Amra, Bianca is talking to Amra, Adonis and Bianca, that's mom and dad, they're both
Mhm.
hearing. Um, Amra is the one that requires sign language. So
No, I
one
thought the
or
mom had
Bianca
completely lost her.
is deaf
She
also. You're right.
Yeah, in the movies that from what I can remember, or at least when the first issue, like she didn't like she had her hearing in the movies, but was losing her hearing.
Yeah, that's
And
right.
then
That's right.
so that's where we are I think when this series starts is
Yeah,
she's
so
completely
Adonis
lost
is
her
the
hearing.
only hearing
Yes.
individual in their family.
Yeah.
In this part of the family, three of them.
Yeah.
We have a really cool scene at the end of the book where the family kind of gets extended, and I'm like,
Yes.
hell yeah.
Which okay, we'll talk about when we get to it.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. And so we start to get some of the other storylines. We have the story about Adonis and Bianca wanting to uh, bank on who Adonis is and what he has done
Yeah.
without him having to fight anymore, and hopefully setting everybody up so that his daughter doesn't have to fight. And so,
Yeah.
using as the college kids call it now, I think he's wanting to trade his NIL for some big money.
Yes.
Um, and we see in the previous, yeah, see,
Yeah.
being current, man. That's
Yeah.
we gotta,
Modern.
yeah. Anyways, yeah. In the previous two issues, we saw that they were working on some things, but then some things fell through, and there was maybe some fishiness as to why they fell through. So now Bianca has been checking into why things fell through as far as the name, image, likeness
Mhm.
contracts that they were trying to get with some other entities, and they run across a name, the name being Artemis Creed. Now, in issue one, at the end of the issue, we saw a nameplate that said um, Artemis CR on the nameplate. We didn't see the full nameplate.
Mhm.
Second issue, we found out that he is of the same mother
Well,
and
that's
father.
Alexander.
Oh, no,
Artemis
yeah, I'm sorry.
is the aunt.
Artemis is the sister.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I'm sorry. Alexander. Yeah, Alexander and Artemis are both of the same parentage,
Yes. Yeah.
and um, Adonis is a different mother. Is that
Yes.
what it right? So that would make them his. Is that half
His
brothers?
half brother. Yeah.
Right.
Half brother
So
and
it's
sister. Yeah.
half brother and sister. So yeah, that's the lurking evil is it's the evil half brother.
Yeah.
Which at first, you were kind of being led to believe it was going to be the evil half sister.
Yeah.
But she's completely like, dog, I don't want none.
Right. Yeah.
If
She's
this
like,
is going to be an issue, I don't want issue.
right.
She's a lawyer. She set up. She used to fight. She was
Yeah.
badass. Moved on to the next phase. She's a
Hmm.
lawyer, and now she's like, I don't want beef. I don't need
Yep.
that. I don't. Between you and my niece. Between me and my niece, and between you and my husband,
Yep.
she's like, no, I
I'm
don't need
good.
none of
Thanks.
that. Yeah. Um, so they get to digging, and you find out that there is this Alexander Creed now,
Yep.
but Artemis is also listed.
Yeah.
They are whatever owners of this entity that has been submarining Adonis and Bianca's attempts to
Yeah.
trade in on Adonis's NIL
Yeah.
possibilities. We go to Amra. She has a little tete-a-tete here with one of her girlfriends. Ultimately, because of that conversation, she goes and wants to try to squash anything happening with Jamie.
which is really interesting.
I, w- I-
Like
y-
I,
why does that matter?
that's the thing. That's what I can't figure out because Amber has not been Amber's been confrontational only when it comes to I want to be better,
Hmm.
and so just confrontation with her parents and stuff like that. That's really been all it's been. And so she seems to, I don't know if this is an olive branch or whatever. I mean, Jamie wants nothing to do with it, which
No,
totally makes sense for the character that we've been
right.
given for her. And that makes sense to me. But like, I don't know why Amara was just like, yeah, we need, other than, because Jamie takes it as Amara's trying to get into her head.
Right.
And so she immediately gets defensive, which totally makes sense. But Amara's doing it, for the right reasons.
Yeah, I think she's
But
doing
it
it
doesn't make any
genuinely.
sense why she would do it because it just I don't even know what a because is. It just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
So
We also find out that Jamie knows American Sign Language. So
yeah, yeah,
there we go. They're actually able to sit there and talk. And
yeah. I did like that part. Yeah,
yeah, and it turns out that Jamie is being um, made out to be a badass, but she's not. I don't necessarily find her. She's not giving me evil vibes.
no, no,
And even in the way she handled this is um, this is her meeting with Amara is tangential to what Jamie wants to accomplish. So
right.
it's like it's a very give or take situation, and she just chooses to not deal with it.
Yeah,
Whatever, and move on. So we we have a really interesting confrontation between Adonis and Artemis here. Uh,
hey, if you're former
Artemis is
boxers, this is how you deal with your problems.
yeah, Creeds, no less.
Creeds,
Uh,
especially.
Artemis is training, I think, just to stay in shape, which I mean makes perfect sense. It's only
Oh
what
yeah,
she's done for 30 years or
yeah,
whatever it is. Um, and Adonis, again, being kind of a bell end, he's like, okay, we'll take this to the mat and we'll see.
right,
It's like, dog, you're a dude. Okay, first of all,
right,
this is your sis. This is blood.
right.
Uh, Is there really that much beef that this is how it has to be settled? So it's kind
It,
of intense.
it's, but okay. Having watched the first two movies, this is not a far stretch from his character,
N-
but you would also
No, but
think over time he would mature some. And
well,
especially having a daughter as old as she is, I mean, there's a lot of time that's taken place. I don't know. It seemed, it seems right. It seems like, okay, I saw it and I was like, okay, I guess it makes sense that he would do this. And Artemis is definitely like, whoa, what the okay, fine. This is what we're doing. This is what we're doing. I don't, but yeah, it seemed a little aggressive.
I
And
have been
even the
told,
end of the fight is very
eh, yeah,
like, oh, cool. All right, we're good. Thanks. Sorry.
I've been
Yeah.
told my whole life, and I have heard my whole life that this is not how you handle the situation with a
Right.
female. This is not because you will always, as the dude, be the bad guy. No
Yeah.
matter why, no
Yeah.
matter how it ends, it doesn't matter. This one you'll never win.
Right.
Don't
Yeah.
do this. I mean,
Yeah.
it's bad. You will be the bad guy if you
Yes.
but yeah, Adonis is like, "Okay, all right, let's go."
This is
I'm
what
like,
we're gonna do. Yeah.
"Dog, come on."
Okay, fine.
So yeah, so they finish and the scene there, is that's Bianca
Yeah,
that
when she
comes
comes
up.
in, that's great.
Says, "What the hell are you although that can't be Bianca because she talks.
Oh,
If
that's
she's
true.
if she's deaf,
No, she talks all the time. You're right. Maybe she's not deaf.
okay. Yeah,
Maybe I had it wrong. I
Bianca,
apologize.
I think that's Bianca. Yeah, she asks, "What the hell are you 2 doing?" And both of them are like, started it."
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
"Okay, yeah." Like
Perfect
a couple
siblings.
siblings.
Yep.
Yeah, that's so yeah, they get out of the ring there and they're still going at it, now for the sake of Bianca,
Yeah.
kind of bringing her up to speed about what was going on. And we see that, and I believe I have an issue with this.
Uh-oh.
Somebody is watching on the phone. I think it's Amra's friend. And there is an announcement that Jamie just got a new manager.
Yes.
Okay, now you tell me, how can the entity who is the namesake on the boxing tournament
Tournament. Yes.
take her on as
Yes. That is a
manager?
conflict of interest.
Big time.
Yeah.
How in the world is that allowed to happen? That
That is
that was
like
the very first thing that jumped out at me.
Cobra Kai also being the showrunner for the
Yeah,
Valley
it's like,
tournament.
yeah. So that's where it ends. We find out that Alexander is
Yeah.
behind everything, which I
Yeah.
mean we don't necessarily know that, but more or
We
less
don't
we
really
do.
know his motivations
No,
either.
he is behind managing Jamie, which
Yep.
means that money and facilities, any support is going to come from him.
Yep.
Apparently, he's well off. He's a businessman of some means because
Yeah.
he's been buying up these things that Adonis and Bianca have been trying to do, buying them out from under him.
Yeah.
And so the final scene is the Creeds minus Alexander
Yeah.
getting together as one side of the fight
Oh yeah.
with Alexander and his protege Jamie, which
Yep.
we don't even know if Alexander knows how to fight, um,
No, he does not.
being on the other side. So that's this is, what is this, issue 3? So there's
Yeah.
one more issue. So that will be the friction of the next
Yeah.
issue.
So up until we'll say up until Adonis gets in the ring with Artemis, up until then, this has felt like a comic book series. The way the writing has been, the way the pacing's been structured, all of that kind of stuff.
Okay.
The moment for me at least, that when he got in the ring with her, I'm like, okay, I feel like we're tipping her hand toward the movie or to a movie script
Mm-hmm.
as far as this moment, this confrontation moment. And then when we get to the end of this issue and they're all like arms around each other, like there was no apologies, there was no nothing. It was just like, oh, wait a second, he's the bad guy,
Right.
you
Right.
know. Because Artemis, I mean, she's like, look, yes, we have this company or this it's basically a trust that their dad had left them, and he's sort of, Alexander's sort of taken it and built, what it is, and she's got nothing really to do with it,
Yeah.
anything,
Yeah.
and so, that that apparently was all the explanation Adonis needed, and but he
Which,
didn't apologize for, look, I'm
no,
sorry I was being a jerk and all,
he
how
has
I
been
get.
dogging her since the first
Right.
issue, man. And it's,
Exactly. So
yeah, he's
so
he's
she's a really, really good person.
he's kind of a bell end, man.
Yes.
He really is. Even to his own sister, his own blood.
I know.
Come on, man.
But I
So,
am, now that we've sort of crossed over that barrier, I am kind of curious. I mean, like I said, it definitely it's now feeling like one of those movies where everybody's, sides have been chosen, and
mhm.
there's going to be a fight and all that kind of stuff, which I thoroughly enjoy. I love any kind of sport movie that goes this route. I mean, I'm a sucker for it. So I'm curious to see, does it continue to sort of use those tropes and meet those, that expectation, or are we going to get something completely different? I don't
Well,
know, but
it
I'm curious to see.
it feels like it's moved from comic to adaptation.
Yes. Yeah.
Is what, because a lot of those from the confrontation just before he got into the ring for the rest of issue 3, very cinematic feel to the writing. Now, not
Yes.
necessarily the art.
Yeah.
The art didn't take away from it either, but just the
No.
writing. It,
No.
it definitely felt like, uh, I'm going to assume Latoya
Mhm.
was her her field of view kind of expanded from being a comic book, which I always think a comic book has a smaller field of view,
Mhm.
to a TV show or a movie that just by its nature has to have a larger field of view in dealing with the story itself. I'm not sure if that's uh, coming through to those listening to make sense. Makes sense in my head,
Yeah.
but so and all of a sudden it just it blew up, and it's like, oh, this big thing. And going into the final issue,
Yeah.
I definitely feel that with a tournament with potentially multiple rounds that they're going to have to get
Yeah.
through in the final issue, and some drama here and there, but then the ultimate battle, and
Waiting for the montage.
finish her. Yeah,
Right.
that's
Uh,
I was going to break into a movie theme, but
I'm
not
sure you
really
were.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I could feel it coming.
yeah, sorry.
But yeah, I've been enjoying it. Yeah, the last issue was one of those things. I'm like, wait a second, this first issue was really like I was enjoying what I was reading, and then Adonis becomes a jerk, and
He
I was
was
like, well, he was kind of a jerk in the first issue too, and he's
kind
not
of,
really
but it
he's
was
not
like the
losing
second
his
issue was like
yeah
he was a jerk everywhere.
yeah. I
Everywhere he
was
went,
like,
he was just
apparently someone woke up on the wrong side of the bed. So
man, yeah. Kind of toned
uh,
down for this third issue.
yes,
So.
for sure. Well, other than the boxing is
Well,
sister,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, that's
Other than that, so but he's a Creed, so what do you expect? Let's take a look at Sirens of the City #2.
okay.
This is my I hate to say my new favorite series because I hate putting that label on a book, but it is definitely in my top 5. We'll just say that.
This and Spider-Man? No, no,
Yes,
I'm
this
not.
is
Sorry.
no,
Okay. Oh,
not
I'm sorry.
not
I'm sorry.
happening.
I'm sorry.
So, Sirens of the City #2 is created by Joanne Starr and Carrie Randolph, written by Joanne Starr and illustrated by Carrie Randolph, lettered by End World Design. Lots of variant covers. Logo design is John J. Hill. Designer is Grace Park. Special thanks to Rob Levin and Tanya McKinnon. I'm curious on what the special thanks is, but not my business. So last issue, we were introduced to Layla, who's 16, and she kind of gets mixed up with a, a slew of characters. She's sort of trying to get away from. She's
Jerome?
pregnant. She's trying to get away from the drama of all that. We'll say her ex is looking for her. He's still in love with her. Um, and his crew or the crew that he's in are a bunch of punks. And we get, which we, well, hold on. We'll get to that in a second. And then she gets introduced into an underworld that she doesn't know what it is, and then comes to find out through this issue that she's a siren. She comes to find out that her her baby daddy, is what was the
He's an incubus.
he's an incubus. So thank you. I couldn't remember what it was all of a sudden. So he is his just natural ability is to make people do what he says. And
To to make women
to make
do
women,
what he
excuse me,
says.
to make
Right.
women do what he says. So there's
And
a
what is
lot
the siren's ability?
is to make men do what they say
And so
through
what would
song,
a combination of genetics be able to do?
to control the world.
To make everybody do what
Yes.
they say. Ah,
So this issue is Explanation City.
yes, yes.
It explains every player. Like in the first issue, you kind of get to know some of that as a reader. She doesn't know a lot of this, but this issue is Layla learning
Right.
what is going on.
Kind of her catch up. We kind
Yes,
of got the catch up first issue. Now
yeah,
it's her catch up to the world that, well, apparently she's a part of, that she
yeah.
has no clue
She
about.
had no
And
clue. Yeah.
you know,
So we're introduced to a lot of new characters and stuff like that. But the interesting thing is that now she's aware of, or I say aware of who she is, aware of who her ex is, who his crew is, who these people that she was at the party with. Um, and so she feels sort of doubly betrayed by her ex, that he made her fall in love with him and have sex and the
But
baby.
did he?
But I don't think,
I
and
don't
he's
think he
definitely
did either.
leaning that he didn't do that. But
Right,
she's under the impression, because of what everybody's telling her, again, new world, not really
right.
understanding what's going on, that she thinks that's what he's done. And so she's just more angry with him. And he's genuinely trying to find her and to help her and, to protect the baby. But then we find out, like you just said, the spawn of a incubus and a siren together, that is obviously never happened before, and that the implications of having that baby under your control, there's very little that you probably couldn't do.
Well, and even to the extent, I mean, this combination of incubus and siren is so feared by the we'll call him monster, but I don't
Right.
mean that in a bad way, but by the monster community, that it's legendary, such that it's not supposed to occur.
Right.
Even, I mean,
Yeah.
the incubi and sirens are supposed to be kept apart,
Yeah.
and they are taught and instructed as they're growing up and as
Yeah.
they're becoming part of this monster world. Look, anybody over here, yeah, that not this one,
Right. Yeah.
not
Yeah.
these guys,
Yeah.
anybody you want.
Yep.
so so
But
here,
her not being part of that world, that's what's allowed this situation to
right,
happen.
she didn't have that upbringing.
Yeah.
She never got it. She gets kind of a quick course in this issue
Yeah.
of, well, why you're not supposed to let that happen.
Yeah.
But yeah.
You're right. And so I think, so because of that, again, this issue, most of this issue is an explainer issue. There's not a lot, I mean, not a lot really that happens other than going from scene to scene, to character, and getting, and Layla learning a little bit more. And then again, now what she's learned, she's gone to, to confront her ex and all this other stuff. And, he's, again, trying to explain, that's not what I did. That's not what I do. That's not who I am. That's who my crew is for sure. The people that I hang out with, 100%, they do that, but that's not me. And I, as a reader, believe him. I mean,
Mhm.
if not, Star is really writing him as a very um sympathetic character, and I kind of like that. I like that sort of, she wasn't tricked into this, that this may actually be true love, or at least infatuation that
Right.
got us, honest infatuation that got us here.
True love.
Yeah, exactly. um but yeah, so that's kind of what this issue's all about. I mean, now, that being said, next issue, I think everything's going to hit the fan.
Mm, yeah.
Now that all the players are in place, everybody knows who they are. All the evil monsters or creatures are starting. They're aware now. Everyone's aware of what, the baby that she carries, and all this other stuff. So, and I do like the fact that uh, Randolph's coloring,
Oh,
or
I'm thinking the exact same thing.
is so, if
Either,
you've not checked out any previews, you need to go do that first and foremost.
man.
Because Randolph's artwork is amazing, just
Oh yeah.
the line work itself. If this could be a complete black and white, most of this is a black
Yeah,
and
I
white
was I
book.
was gonna say, Boom,
The
can you say pen and ink? Yeah, that's okay.
You barely have to do it. I mean,
Pen and ink. Yeah, yeah,
so,
really. It's
but it's primarily a black and white book, which is great. More of those I'm super big fan of. And but the coloring aspect is, there
th
is blue and red, and the
green.
and some green, some purples and stuff like, but it's sparsely used, and the emphasis that is being when it's being used is very impactful to the scene,
The
and
usage of the color.
it's so good.
Yes, it is.
So it's
Wow.
one of the, and this is, and again, it's one of those things, like, I really enjoy the story that's being told. So, when I said I'm hesitant to name this as, or call this like one of my favorite books. It is one of my favorite books I'm currently reading, but it's hard. I'm hesitant to say that it's my favorite book right now, but it checks off so many boxes, and it's a compelling story. I'm a John Hughes fan, so if you give me a bunch of teenagers running around trying to learn stuff, and work together, that's always me thing. We were just talking about that last night here at the house. um and so, but then adding on top of that, Randolph's artwork and the coloring and character design, the panel layouts. I mean, this is a very, like, this is an uncommon book that's being put together. Now, somebody could come along and read it and go, whatever, it's whatever, fine. But I think you need to sit back and read it, look at it, take it in, and see this is not something that is just thrown together by happenstance. These are two folks that are really pouring a lot into this book. And you don't see Carrie Randolph do a lot of books. And this is why, because it takes time to put together this kind of storytelling in an illustrative way. And I'm all here for it. So, but like I said, the coloring part, the pops of color as it goes, and sort of providing sort of like a tone, like there's a lot of blue and purples and stuff like that when Layla's around and they talk about the sirens and stuff like that. And then there's a lot of red that's being used when you're talking about, the evil, or at least the people who are coming after and stuff like that. There's even a lot of red that's being used when her ex is around or something like that. When his crew's around, not when he's around, mainly, but his crew. And then you've got the green, which is sort of, I don't want to say a neutral ground, but these are players that aren't, I don't say they're good. They're not good guys, but they do have some nefarious or ulterior motives, but we don't know what those are quite yet. And so, there's a, like, they go to, what's the dude's name
Rat
that they
King.
go see, the Rat King. Like, his whole thing, like, I'm wondering if the green that's being used there is more just to establish his kingdom, or at least to know these people are associated with him if we see them in later on in the book. Or if it's just, I don't know. It's trying to figure out what the color is going to be used for.
Having said the Rat King, the mighty mighty boss tones are running through my head now.
Nice.
Anybody else out there get that? Last hurrah, ha ha,
Yeah,
do it
sure.
again. Which is the Rascal King, but yeah,
The rest.
is the name of the song. But yeah, it started playing in my head. So, I would like to talk to Randolph and find out. Blue makes sense. Blue is water. Okay,
Yeah.
I get you.
Yeah.
If red is evil, okay, I get that. Okay. What is green? Why was green the third primary? And I don't mean like in the color wheel primary, but I mean the main color used, primary. Why was green the third primary color chosen? Why green? We'll be able to tell who it represents. I mean, that's
Yeah.
not the problem, but the question is why that color? Um, Historically, green is not, from anything that I've been taught or can remember, is not anything that I remember being associated with these types of characters or this aspect of this story
Yeah.
historically. So I really would want to ask, why did you choose green for these particular people? The
And we may find out in the next issue.
Rat King
Yeah.
peoples, but not, I mean, not all of them. And yeah, it's just, when they're visiting the Rat King, that's when green shows up.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not everything everywhere, anything like that. But yeah, it's the color that makes the least sense to me the way that it's being used.
Yeah. I don't know. We may find out. So,
Good supernatural
but yeah,
story. Uh,
yeah,
and I have to mention this because it made me laugh. When Marisol and Jerome uh, start to go looking for um, Layla.
yeah,
And they're getting ready to go into the sewers, and she's just like, yeah. And he's like, "Oh, no, no!" And she uses her power and says,
right,
"Follow
yeah,
me." And you see, and he kind of looks at her, and then he laughs and says,
yeah,
"Nice try. That's
yeah,
not going to work on me."
yeah,
And then um, she's wrestling around with him, and I guess she purposely pulled his shoe off
yeah,
because she needed to know why it didn't work. Because
yeah,
obviously, if it doesn't work, that means he's not human.
yeah. Because at this point,
So if
she
he's
didn't
not
know. Yeah,
right, if he's not human, then what are you?
yeah,
And we see that the incubi have uh, web toes, I guess is what they're
yeah,
trying to tell us. Although
mhm.
he's got some weird knobbies on the tops of his
Yeah,
toes too that just make it look weird. But yeah, that whole scene, and she gets all angry and uses the siren water power, and this scene convinced me that Jerome is as he has appeared.
yeah.
Nothing nefarious. He's
Oh
not
yeah,
hiding. He's not.
yep,
The way we have seen him act is the way that character is now. Maybe later on I'll be fooled, but right now,
right.
uh,
Yeah, and that's the thing. I hope is not going to be the case because
yeah,
I do like that we're at least getting so far a character that seems to be pretty genuine. And in this sort of world of characters, for somebody like Layla to kind of come into it as an unknown, not knowing anybody, she's starting to put together a group of friends. And even though he's her ex or whatever like that, he's still, like I said, a really genuine guy. And I think she's going to need him down the road.
what we I don't think have seen anyone else that was genuine. Not even Layla.
True. Yeah.
At the very least, she's lying to everybody about being pregnant. Now,
Yeah.
now there are those that can suss it out. We
Oh,
see that.
sure. Yeah.
But so I mean, even she is hiding things. Now, Jerome, there may be something that he's hiding. He may have
Yeah.
knowledge of something, but I don't think we've really even seen an inkling of that in the character yet.
No, not yet.
So
So,
I could make the argument that he is the only genuine person. Well, maybe Darla here at the end because she comes across as rather, yeah. Maybe Darla is pretty genuine because she's so shallowly used,
enamored with,
and it's yeah. So she could be genuine also, but I don't think she'll
sure, why
play a
not?
big part in the story. So yeah, Jerome
Yeah.
is it. He is the lone bastion of, um, if you want to look at it, of good in this
uh,
world of bad.
I keep thinking Kelly LeBrock and Weird Science.
Okay.
That don't know why,
Weird
but
science. That's
lots of lots of
night of music. Yep.
yep. There you go. All right, where do you want to go to next?
Let's take a look at Wild's End.
There you go.
Wild's End. So
Ed got mad at me because we didn't do an episode when issue 2 came out. He was like, "God, I wanted to talk about the book."
eh, that's all right. Okay. Chapter 3, The Light. Created by Dan Abnett and Ian J. Colbert. Written by Dan Abnett. Illustrated and lettered by Ian J. Colbert. Additional material by Nick Abnett. Several covers. Designers Grace Park and Nancy Mojica. I hope that's pronounced correctly. Okay. The Earth has been invaded by aliens. Now, it occurred primarily when all of our protagonists essentially were out at sea. They
Yeah.
were out at sea for a month, and that was long enough for
That's all it
the
takes.
the not only for the aliens to arrive, but we find out that perhaps there were some left over from previous books
Yes.
as well. So in the subsequent in the previous chapters, as the aliens have been defeated, apparently they weren't defeated. Just what we thought was going on was put an end to.
Yeah.
The aliens must have like the long play in here. So because
That is interesting, if
I
that's
don't
the
think we
case.
really know like the amount of time from say the some point in the first series to some point in this series. I don't
Yeah.
think we have that total amount of time. So, but yes, there is a reference that tells us that everything going on now is not necessarily from brand new entities. There are leftover entities. Cool thing about the aliens is they look like gas lamp era gas
Mhm.
lamps for roads is what they look like. And even they have these little babies that look identical, but they're just smaller.
Yep.
Otherwise, they're big, tall, legged, climby things. It kind of puts you in mind of the big war machines from War of the Worlds, but just
Oh, yeah.
slightly. I mean, it's
Yeah.
not maybe more in how they work, definitely than how they look.
Yeah. Oh, for sure, yeah.
Uh, so things are starting to pick up now. The aliens are finally in the story, becoming a more active part of the story. Our crew has broken up into two, I think, two primarily groups. One
Mhm.
of them, one of our group, Flo and Roddy, encountered a survivor uh, of the alien. Uh, it's not necessarily an attack, but the alien foray on their local village. One person was able to hide away, and Flo and Roddy last issue ran into this person. Her name is Bernie Pie,
Yep.
Pye, Bernie. And Bernie is now. This is an anthropomorphic story, so Bernie is okay. Let's go.
I was gonna
Flo
say
is
with the headgear on, I don't know.
Flo is a Great Dane.
Yeah.
Roddy is a Badger.
Badger, yeah.
Um, yeah, Bernie looks maybe like some kind of ground creature, like maybe um, I don't want to say a mole because there's too much fur, but some smaller creature.
Yeah.
But everybody except for Flo's family, we have seen multiple members of her family. Everybody else pretty much are different animals, except for Flo's family. They're all dogs.
Yeah.
I think maybe even they're all Great Danes as well. So Flo and Roddy and Bernie, who they have found, are one group, and then everybody else, which is Eddie, which is Flo's sister's son, and Skipper, who is Eddie's grandpa,
Mhm.
the skipper of the ship that they were on. It was a fishing vessel, and the job was, they went out to sea to catch fish for the village, and when they came back to all this. There is Stevie and Howie. One, two, three, four, five, six. There should be somebody else too. I think seven. But there's also Stevie and Howie. Now, Howie was just obliterated last issue. Didn't play along with what the aliens expected the people to do. So we kind of find out that uh, in not doing what the aliens want you to do, you can only push that so far, and they'll just take you completely
Mhm.
off the table and move on to the rest of the village that they're controlling. We don't know why, but they have gathered up all of the villagers and they have taken them over here. So when our two groups get back together, everybody finds out that one is dead. One person uh, got kind of knocked unconscious, but he's got kind of maybe a a different functioning brain maybe than most
Oh,
everybody
yeah.
else.
Yeah.
He's, so he was affected differently by what the aliens do than the vast majority of the village insofar as their methods of taking control of the villagers.
Mhm.
he was not taking control of. So Skipper and Stevie uh, and Eddie hook back up with Flo and Roddy and Bernie. Okay, they talk a little bit, and they find out that, well, all of the villagers have been taken over here. And that's why we don't see the villagers. That's why we're not really seeing too many aliens either, because they have gotten all of the villagers
Yeah.
and they're over here. So they don't need to be moving around doing anything in the village. So they rest up, have some character development about. We find out that Bernie is very non-take actiony.
Yes.
She is very much a sit back and let it happen and then deal with the consequences of it
Right.
happening. Whereas Roddy, which is kind of interesting, Roddy is very gung ho about, no, we got to stop this now, because when they're
Yeah.
done with us, they'll move on somewhere else, and they'll move on to, and then the
Yeah, I
whole
definitely
Earth.
like that he is willing to just run into the fire and not have a plan. Like he's
Right.
just,
Yeah.
we just need to do this now. I was
We have
like,
to stop it. How? I don't know,
wow.
but we have to stop it.
Yep.
So Flo and Roddy come up with a plan. They're trying to convince Bernie to participate in the plan also, that, it does, whatever's going on here does need to be stopped, because if not, it will spread to everywhere, anywhere else. We are the only people that know what's going on. So even more so, we need to be the ones to stop it.
Mhm.
So they find out where all the villagers are, and subsequently all the aliens are. And one day, they go over there to kind of peep it out and see what's going on. They do some stuff to equip themselves. Um, Turns out that the aliens use a combination of sound and
Yeah.
light to uh, hypnotize and then take control of the people. So we find out that various members of our troop here have either hearing issues or sight issues, or they overcome them with goggles or
Mhm.
beeswax in the ear, or different
Yeah.
things to dumb down those two senses, so that they might feel what's going on, but it won't work, and so they won't be turned over to the
Yeah.
aliens. So one day they head out and they go to this big. They said what kind of plant it was. I don't know what they said. It looks like maybe a munitions plant.
Yeah.
Given the
Yeah.
overall time frame, maybe. So they're snooping around and they find.
Oh, it's a
Uh,
glassworks factory.
okay,
That's what it's, yeah.
they find the rest of their villagers. They find maybe the rest of the aliens. I mean, they don't necessarily know how many aliens they are.
Right.
Uh,
Yeah.
they live in the village, so of course they're going to have a good idea of if everybody is here or not. But what it is the aliens are forcing the villagers to build something, and what they're building is essentially a tower that the aliens will use, using the light and sound method, to extend, still finitely, but to a much, much larger area,
Mm.
their ability to control uh, the human population. So
Yeah.
they'll expand their control. Um, my thinking is that this one thing would not be enough to take over the whole world, but it
No.
definitely would be enough to allow the aliens to set up a pretty significant beachhead. Maybe all of the British Isles, maybe
Yeah.
something like that. Um, and Uh, they go inside the building. All of this is happening outside. They go inside the building and they find the almost the focus apparatus of what they're building, what's going to go on top of the tower, that will allow them to control the emission of the uh, light slash sound waves. They see the transmitter. It's at the base of the tower. They're
Mhm.
building the tower around it. The amplifier, the control method, will be up at the top, and it is laying in the factory. And so you can tell I think, that the next thing is going to be, how can we destroy this thing? Because this is
Yeah.
important. We might not be able to, like, blow up, although they talk about that, the tower, but this thing is of a controllable enough size that we can do something to it and destroy it somehow.
Yeah.
And that's that's pretty much where the issue ends. What is it? Issue 3.
Yeah.
So we're halfway through the next round of alien invasions of our anthropomorphic world here at Wild's End.
I don't know what it is about this book that I enjoy so much. I think part of it is like the story that it's telling is a pretty big, complex story,
Mhm.
but it's presented in such a non-complex. I mean, I don't want to say simple. It's not simple at any stretch, but it's it's some coastal people, some fishermen, and trying to kind of figure out an alien invasion and what to do, and how to save their friends and family and everything. It's presented kind of low key.
It's
You know,
it's a very straightforward story.
yeah,
There's no, these groups over here are doing this and this is
right.
doing
There's
that
no
and this is
frills.
it's a very linear,
Yeah,
compact kind of, just, this is your story.
no.
Read it. And
And
yeah,
I kind of I appreciate that a lot, and it's just I don't know, the characters are great. I mean, we spend
yeah,
so much time with every
absolutely.
single one of them without bogging down the story. Every moment that we talk to these characters are talking, it's moving the story forward,
Hmm.
and I really appreciate that. It's just and I dig the art too. The art is very. I mean, it's unique enough that I think it stands by itself.
I do
And
have a complaint about the art, though.
oh no,
There's not enough maps.
you know,
Yeah, we need at least
we need
a
more
map and
maps.
issue. I mean, we have so much ground. We
Yeah,
we could have a map of some sort in each issue. That
I
wouldn't be hard.
I could see where that'd be beneficial
Yeah. So
because there's a lot going on. There's a lot of ground being covered here.
they're moving around a lot.
Yep,
You
yep,
know. So yeah, I miss the maps. There need to be more maps.
yeah. But just to, it's such a good book.
It doesn't. You're not. Or I'm not. I'm not reading, trying to figure out where or how they're going to get me.
Right. Yeah.
It's like, oh man, have I missed anything?
Right.
What? Oh, he went off. I bet he went off panel because. Oh, well, no. It's, this is our group. This is what's going on. Story.
Maybe it's
Yeah.
just there's no distraction to it.
Mm-mm.
There's no, oh, we got to set up for the next arc, kind of thing. It's
Right.
just now this is, the fourth, miniseries that we've
Right.
got, or fourth chapter or whatever.
Well, but
But
they're all separate. I mean,
they're
they're
all
not
separate.
they're
Yeah.
not necessarily connected.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So yeah, it's just, and I was excited when this book got solicited. I just didn't realize how much I would just it's sort of a laid back enjoyment. Like there's a lot
yes,
going on, but it's just a pretty low
it's
key
pretty
book
to look at.
that's yeah.
It's a good old fashioned sci-fi
Yeah.
movie about an
Yep.
alien invasion on the coast, and
Yep.
yeah, it's very, yeah. I I feel that too.
And I'm not an animal whatever to have animal
Anthropomorphic.
anthropomorphic. There you go.
There you go.
But you are. I mean,
It
that's a thing, with Usagi and
Yeah,
well,
and
I read TMNT, so I take that
the
back.
cool thing about it is, using TMNT as an example, uh, if you want to, there are certain attributes of certain animals that, when you use that animal as a character, become automatic. You don't
Yeah,
have to
yeah,
develop certain attributes because we have come through, I guess, years of other media that certain animals have been portrayed a certain way. So
Right.
if you want a certain kind of character, you don't have to develop the human. You just pick that animal that
Right.
we have come to
Yeah.
associate with that.
It's true.
Um, and I think that um, I don't know if it's necessarily playing that big of a part in this story, but it could be subconsciously.
Maybe.
Maybe that's
Yeah.
also helping us is that the characters are already better rounded than a human being would
Yeah.
because they're an animal. We know what Great Danes are like. We
Yeah.
know badgers or
Hmm.
and the old Great Dane skipper with the he's half blind and half
Right. Yeah.
deaf, and he's the old companion that'll curl up while you're telling
Yep.
stories by the fire, and Jim Henson will, well, no, anyways.
Yeah.
That and you kind of get that from Skipper. He he
Yeah.
he doesn't he doesn't pester. He doesn't get bent out of shape. He forgets something and you tell him he forgets and it doesn't necessarily bother him. He just accepts what you're saying and
Yeah.
easygoing, laid back. So
So, so I'll use that to quickly transition because we're coming up on 2 hours here, so I don't want to take too much more time. But I want to quickly talk about Alice Never After #2 quickly because it is in stark contrast to Wild's End #3. Everything that we've been talking about.
oh yeah.
Created by Dan Panosian, written by Dan Panosian. London is illustrated by Dan as well. Wonderland is illustrated by Giorgio Spalletta with assistance by
Cyril Glarum.
Cyril Glarum, colored by Francesco Segella, assistance by Gloria Martinelli, letter by Jeff Eckelberry, and a bunch of covers. And designer is Madison Goyette. And there you go. So this miniseries is a direct sequel of the first miniseries, and we're at a point now where Alice has become Queen of Hearts. Not because she wanted to, but because they told her to. Uh, she just went, okay, sure. So what do I have to do? And wear a lot of red is basically what they all said. Anyway,
Mhm.
um, now I'm not going to try to explain this particular issue to anybody. I only want to bring it up because I'll bring it up for two reasons. One, I think it's a good issue. I thoroughly enjoy it. It's beautiful to look at. Um, it is not something you skim through. Um, Talking about Wild's End being a complex sci-fi story that's being told in a very linear, very straightforward kind of way. That is not what in shouldn't be what Wonderland is about. Anytime a story about Alice in Wonderland is being told, it should not be the. It should be one of the more confusing, agitating, irritable things that you read because you're a sane person trying to read madness because you at times are sympathetic to what Alice is going through because it's just because the creatures in Wonderland are just batshit crazy.
Mhm.
But at the same time, you go into the real world and you feel the exact same way to the humans interacting with one another, going, isn't that the same freak that
They're
did X, Y, and Z? Why
Yep.
the reason they're in prison?
They're
And
crazy.
you're just like, but the characters are just like, well, maybe if we help these people out, you're the ones that put them in there. It's so it's a maddening book, and I love it for it because it is doing exactly what I think Panosian wants to do. He is telling a cohesive story. Don't misinterpret me talking about the madness and everything and just everything being everywhere. he is telling a bigger story, and it does make sense. But at the same time, this is not a book that can be sort of crammed in 5 minutes. Oh, I just got a little spare time. I'll just pick up Alice in Wonderland and talk and read that for a couple of chapters. No, that's not what you do here. So you need to be sort of aware of that when you get into this. Again, it's a beautiful book to look at. I do. I appreciate the coloring in it is it's so good. Segella and Martinelli's work on it. It's really, 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 really nice. Even when there's not red, the other colors have a red tone to it in Wonderland, which is great. It's just I didn't like. I'm a huge fan of Panosian's art to begin with, but even though we get to see some of his art, that's not the draw for me anymore. His writing is, but I really enjoy Spoletta's stuff and the coloring, and think it's just a beautiful book. Um, Much like with the first miniseries, I didn't get as, we'll say, frustrated reading it, because you're like, why are these characters acting this way? Why don't you see, because they're not supposed to. I went back and reread the miniseries after it concluded in one sitting, and enjoyed it a lot more in the one sitting, because I didn't sort of bake on it for a month in between issues. I'm gonna probably do the exact same thing with this miniseries once it gets done. Is go back and reread the whole thing, maybe even read it again with the first miniseries, since it is a direct sequel. There's so much that we're making reference to the first miniseries, so it's a little hard to recommend this to somebody who's not read the first miniseries, but it can be done. Um, I think you just enjoy it more, especially the real world
Right.
conversations that are having. Like, you're not going to have a clue what's going on with those.
Yeah.
You're not going to.
The Wonderland part does just fine in
Yeah,
this series.
yeah.
But yeah, what's going on in the real world will make much more sense if you've read the
Right. You're
first
not going to
issue.
understand why Alice is messed up,
Right.
what happened with her there. You need to see all that. You need to read all that. So, but yeah, just a thoroughly good series. I highly recommend it, and do hope that we get a third miniseries out of this, just because I'm greedy. That's all. when
That's
when I
fair.
get a when I read a good thing, I just want it to keep going. And when I know this is a mini series, But again, if this is it, this is all we get, just two miniseries. I'm fine. I'm fine. So, anything on it before we close out?
I don't think so.
Okay, cool. Um, that's it. I don't have my notes in front of me. Crap. So you can come by the website comicaddiction.net, where Chris's brain is exploding all over the place as I post stuff. Um, on a more opposite end of that, you can go to our Facebook group, Fans of Boom Studios, where Ed is not losing his mind posting stuff. He's posting lots of links and things like that to other articles, interviews, and things like that, that are all about Boom Studios. So go over there and check that out, and comment and follow the links and enjoy all of those things. You can email us at boomaddiction@gmail.com. You can obviously find us on YouTube, where we are. You can go to the website, comicaddiction.net or boomaddiction.com. Go to the contact thing. There's links all over that thing. You can follow stuff there. You can follow us on Twitter, which is at boomaddiction. You can follow at Teal Productions. Follow me at Chris Parton. Those are the best ways to get in touch with us. We still have our message group, our message board, I'm assuming,
I
is
believe so. Yes.
at just another fanboy at freeforms.net. Is that
Yes.
right? Look at that. And I think that's it. Cool. Anything else?
Mm. There was also an issue of Something is Killing that we didn't talk about, but we can talk about it next time.
We'll talk about it next time. Yeah.
It wasn't real. It was more take a breath kind of issue. It wasn't
Yes. Yeah, for sure.
particularly hard hitting actiony kind of it was
Yeah.
what the hell is going on kind of issue.
Right.
So,
Which is always nice to get every once in a while.
yeah. Well, I mean, it was used to flesh out the world
Yeah.
more than anything else. So
Yeah. So, all right. So, everybody, thank y'all for coming over here and checking us out, whether you've done so on YouTube or on the podcast. Thank y'all. If you want to leave a review and all that other cool stuff, great. Just to let you know, as a reminder, last episode we talked about our vicious circle contest. And so all you need to do is just comment on our YouTube videos about something in the show, whatever you like, books and stuff like that.
it'd be
Just
funny if
leave.
Latoya wins that.
That would be hilarious. I did
Yeah.
think about that.
That would be very funny. Yeah.
I did think about that. But yeah, so once we get to episode 100, which is technically episode number 15 of season 4, we will randomly choose a winner from all of the names of folks that have left comments on the show. So be sure to do that so you can get it. What you'll end up getting is the first 2 issues of Vicious Circle. So
One of
and I
which
will,
has a variant cover, issue
well,
2.
and that was the thing. I was going to give the winner a choice whether or not you want a
Okay.
first print or the second print
Okay.
for the first issue. So, but you'll
And
definitely be getting the first print of the second issue. So.
you're listening to episode 11. So
Yes, this is episode 11.
Episode 15 is the
You
target.
got about 3 weeks, roughly 3 weeks to get some comments or something like that. So get over here to the YouTube channel and do that. So, all right. Well, thank y'all for listening. Ed, as always, sir, thank you for joining me.
Yes, sir.
And we will see all of you next week. Goodbye. No, you didn't do it, man. You're supposed to say
ciao.
There you go.
Sorry.
There you go.
You
let
have
me
a good night
hang.
also, Doug. Yeah, I'm sorry. My bad. I always forget that there's anything hinging on my response.
Yeah, just my sanity. That's all.
It's sorry.
Like I'm a creature of habit. I have to have an ending, and you saying
say it.
It's just, and I'm just like, and
he didn't say it. Damn.
Okay, you've done it before, and it's left a scarring.
I know.
In my brain,
I'm sorry.
so.
That's why I try to be more cognizant of it now. I understand its import now.
Everybody who's still in the chat, thank you very much. Doug, we will see you later. Hyper, if you're still there, goodbye. I think Terry has moved on to a football game.
She shuffled off to Buffalo here earlier.
Yep. So we will end the broadcast.